Welcome back to our final game of the evening here for the first day, actually, of Academy here in summer 2020. I'm Pastry Time. I'm still joined by Crumbs, who has been marathoning through our games all afternoon/evening long, especially with that last one, Crumbs. Certainly a well-deserved rest is on your way. That was quite the 54-minute expedition we went on in our last one.
That really was. I mean, we're just setting the tone for what Academy is going to look like. So we've got all sorts of games for you, actually, whether it's some clean finishes, whether it's some neck and neck all the way, or just a long fiesta. Whatever you got, it's here.
Yeah, certainly something for everyone here in Academy. And we'll have our last two teams as well. Golden Guardians Academy versus Dignitas Academy. And these are teams that also look quite different than they did last split. For me, on the Golden Guardian side at least, most notably is actually Keith returning to Academy, but not as you know him, Crumbs. He is back in his original position. He is a bot laner once again as we get ourselves into Champs League.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think his stint as a support was actually all that bad. I thought towards the end he actually got fairly decent at support, especially since he got thrown into the deep end into the LCS, but he's back on bot, and frankly, time as support will only make him a better marksman, in my opinion. The fact that he now gets to see the lane from his counterpart's perspective, I think will just make him a much more rounded player, and he can actually be more of a shot caller now as a marksman too. So I think that he should actually come out pretty strong.
And I think after, that stint on support, I think the thing that people forget about Keith is that as a bot laner, he was among the best, if not the best in his role when he was playing in Academy. Like, for the the ups and downs he's had in the LCS, Keith is an amazing player here in Academy. So he's back, he's a veteran, he's leading a very young new support in Chime. And he's got close to first pick because that's already through the bands here. So Keith is looking to make his mark as a bot laner, Crumbs, in this first game.
Oh yeah, that is not the pick I would have let go through, right? You're thinking, who do we fear the most? A Blaze Oliver Keith? Well, you haven't seen Keith lately, so maybe that is why you actually favor giving that pick up. But Kalista is very strong for a good reason. And speaking of different champions and players on lineups, you've got Phoenix also switching roles.
He's back!
So
yeah.
He's back to mid, so it looks like this is the year or the split where the adventures in different roles have come to an end. And Dardoch is also on Dignitas now, so this is a player that with a Karma on his lineup, I am fully expecting him to be given a counter pick, or at least picking his champion later than the Golden Guardians jungler hard, and then just having a field day with the fact that you get to speed up and have shields all over you.
Yep, Karma, of course, has been banned in almost all the games today.
Yeah,
but we picked nice and early here by Dig. The bans to quickly catch you up. Kindred, Aphelios, Set, Syndra, Graves, and Varus. So kind of a mixture of the strong champions we've seen throughout the day. Nautilus here in support for Chime. As I mentioned, Chime is a scouting ground support. To me, the most impressive support that played in last year's Honda Scouting Grounds at the end of 2019. Very mechanically talented. Yes, he was a bad one-trick because that's where his name comes from, but certainly a playmaker, and I'm curious to see what he can get done here as a fresh player in Academy alongside one of the longest-standing veterans in Keith, as Trundle will be the pickup here for Hard. It's been one of the go-to junglers, if you don't want to go the aggressive route with the Graves band, maybe not wanting to play the Nidalee. Certainly seen a lot of Trundle today as well.
Yeah, just such a safe blind. You've got champions like Lee that aren't really safe blinds, but you can blind them anyways and feel like you can take a lot of positive matchups. But Trundle is the king of taking a blind pick and just being able to be useful, whether it's against ranged champions that you can pillar, whether it's against mobile picks that you're useful against, ADs running your way, tanks, it doesn't matter. Trundle's got it all, and he's even able to control the Scuttle Crabs really, really well. So it's a solid pick, but more than anything, I think that Golden Guardians is starting to put the pieces together as to why they valued that Trundle pick, right? It was the Kindred ban, first rotation. They wanted to take away that pick, and you know that Dardoch is not the player that's going to blind Trundle in the first rotation. Like, he just doesn't do that. He wants to be playing those carry-style champions. He wants to have a lot of agency into the game. I'm drawing a lot more from the time where he played on Optic last year than the time he played on TSM. And we've even heard from him that on TSM, they were trying to enforce a style onto him that he's just not the best at. So here he can return to that form and show us if it's improved, if it's worsened, like where is his carry potential at?
I mean, my memories of Dardoch last in Academy on Optic were through Hell or High Water, going off on Kiana jungle in particular. Like, Dardoch is a very aggressive player, and you want to give him these kind of junglers. Like, makes sense why Nidalee's banned here by Golden Guardians in Phase 2. He's going to join Wukong, LeBlanc, and Azir for the final 4 bans here in this last game.
I think he even played Pyke jungle in one of the
I'm
games.
sure. That's the kind of thing we would expect from Dardoch. That's a lie so good that I will believe you blind even if it's not true, Crumbs. Because that's the kind of player Dardoch is when he's playing his best.
Okay. Let's see. Who gets the last pick? Yep, I knew it. I knew it. Look at that. Phoenix returns to mid lane and plays Karma. Did he really leave support? Come on. Did he or bot? Did he even leave bot?
I mean, it's funny because, as rough as Keith's time was on spot, although he did have good moments, Phoenix as an AD in Academy was very good. So returning to his, original position, you have to think he's going to be as good or even better than he was. And Dignitas Academy at one point last split, Crumbs, where, looking like a team that would never lose a game or split. And that certainly was not how the narrative ended for Dignitas Academy, but I put up another formidable squad here with these 5 players as Galio once again will make an appearance here for a Blaze Olive, I assume, in the mid lane. And that does leave our final pick here in the top side. I already know the Aatrox is there, so it looks like something like Gangplank is wide open for Zion Spartan.
So I'm going to guess there for Dardoch that the pick is either Rengar or Ezreal jungle.
Ooh.
I think that's what he's going for.
Oh,
really?
Last
pick for this? For that?
You saved this for Lee Sin? I mean, Dardoch's certainly a good Lee Sin. Not the hyper-aggressive, unique champion that we certainly have seen from him, but I'll take it. Certainly curious to see how these 5 play together. I mean, Dignitas feel like they're a team that could potentially, play all 10 of their players at some point between the 2 leagues. So curious to see how that all shakes out. But it is also nice to see Dardoch back with Lolo. These are 2 players that have played together before, notably on Team Liquid. They've been friends for a long time. They've continued to play the game together. For even when being on different teams, and I think they're certainly they respect each other and they understand each other. I think Lolo knows what Dardoch's like and is maybe good at tempering some of what has made Dardoch problematic on different teams. And Dardoch certainly respects Lolo as a player and as a friend. So synergy-wise, if you're going to throw Dardoch onto a new team, it's not the worst partner you could have given him there in top lane.
Man, you got a lot of players that you respect as well that have been switching roles. So I think that he's going to have a good time despite the fact that he's on Lee, because the Lee build that we saw from Anda in the last game actually makes him a much stronger duelist and pretty decent scaling fighter towards the end stage of the game.
All right, we are going to step away to build up the game delay, but when we come back, we'll have the final game of the evening. Welcome back to Kickoff of Golden Guardians Academy versus Dignitas Academy, our final two teams that we have yet to see to kick off Academy Summer 2020 Crumbs. But I'm excited. Lots of changes for these two organizations. New players, some new roles have been acquired actually by players on their teams, and looking like very competitive rosters. Dignitas had a great start to the spring and then not so great a finish, and Golden Guardians kind of the same story, but didn't quite eke into playoffs despite how strong they looked for a lot of the season. So potentially two teams that will be playing often as the season goes on, but we'll have to see how their new squads are looking.
Yeah, there are two yellow teams, so absolutely we got to pair them together and figure out which is the superior gold or just normal chicken yellow, whatever the case is. I'm liking
Golden Guardians.
I'm liking what I'm seeing out of Dignitas' lineup here. Even though you're up against the Callista and the very strong composition, the fact that you have the Karma that got through as well as the Ezreal combo, Karma is surprisingly powerful right now. We've seen Lulu make it into the mid lane. Well, we haven't seen quite what Karma does, and when she pops a Mantra Shield, it is Ardent Sensor for everyone, and that is very scary.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Karma has been banned multiple times today, so interesting to see it get through here. We'll see exactly how potent it can be. And we didn't actually talk about the Dignitas Academy bottom lane yet, but I think now is an appropriate time. Brand new bottom lane once again. They have JJ now, coming from FlyQuest, if I recall correctly, on this team. And then Asta, who was formerly on Dardock's team, actually. He was on Optic Academy a little while ago. Did not play last split in Academy, but now is back on a team, with Phoenix moving from AD to mid for this team. So certainly going to be a test here against Keith, but Keith also having a fresh support in Chime. Very curious to see kind of what the temperature of these dual lanes is like.
It'd be really interesting to see, because since so many bot laners are new, we don't really know which lanes prefer which matchups or how comfortable they are in certain 2v2. So there's a lot to be determined for what these bot lanes are going to bring. And yeah, there it is, the Battle of the Yellows. This feels very different from all the other games today just because of the HUD.
Well, we'll see how the play looks as we get into our final game of the day. Also, Zion tricked us. We thought he was going to play Gangplank, but he's decided he wants to play Jace instead. So we'll see how that goes up against Lolo's Aatrox. But lots of questions here and not answers just yet. Curious to see how both these teams are looking. But for now, 10 players will spread across the river and just poke for a little bit of early information.
I am very excited to see a Blaze Olive here, because we saw what Tuesday could do on the Galio. Clearly, it was very impactful, and so there's not a lot of ways for a Blaze Olive to get in the same way that you have a Jarvan or even a Leona that can instantly get into the fight and give you a great angle for your ultimate. This is a lot more pokey / disengagey against a comp that also doesn't really have that much of an engage tool. It's really only Leona that's going to be able to get into the mix, or Aatrox if it gets a great shield from Karma and they're ahead. So the Galio's mode of operation will have to just fluctuate in between fights here. There's no easy press R to win, as we saw in the last slobber knocker of a game.
Yeah, and certainly a Blaze Olive looking to have a better split. Didn't have a bad split, certainly in spring, but team-wide it felt like they were just struggling to put things together despite the good start they had. And Blaze Olive has been towards the top of the mid laners in Academy for a long time. At one point was the best. He's an Academy champion on TSM Academy. Moving to Golden Guardians was kind of a surprise after they picked up Evolve. But he's continuing to want to prove himself as one of the best players in the league, and he is now an extremely strong player against him in this matchup, with Phoenix returning to mid lane. So, despite it being two kind of farmy, spellbook, mid laners, certainly see a lot about where these two players are up to skill level, as Phoenix takes the early edge with Karma, which isn't too surprising given how good Karma's Mantra is at level 1.
Yeah, the thing is, you don't have very great skill expression with Karma, which is why it's going to be hard to judge where Phoenix is at as a mid laner, because it's like, oh, are you coming back to mid lane and then you're playing Karma Lulu? It's like, okay, did you really go back to mid lane? You're not participating in the way the game is played when it comes to this roaming and generating pressure. You're just kind of hoping for items and then just banking on the fact that the champions are so strong in that regard. So I'll have to see a lot more about Phoenix to make any judgment calls on where his play is at, especially if we get to see his Azir which is really, I think, what his benchmark was after the quadra kill that is always referenced from him. But anything better than that will just mean that he still got it.
Yep, Azir certainly in the meta. Both its mid laners do play it, but did not make an appearance in this game, of course. I feel like in some ways, like, you know, Phoenix returning to mid with Karma, it's kind of like a peripheral check. It's like, did you bring your keyboard? Okay, cool. Yep, still works. Good. You're good. Off you go and play Karma. As long as that works, you're doing fine. As top lane, Lolo eating some pressure here from Zion early on. 10 CS lead, although Lolo has quite a number of minions to still hack away at. And Dardoch is here, unsurprisingly. The good friends seeing each other early on in the top lane. And Dardoch is going to wrap around for this gank. First Q lands. Dardoch does chase it, waits out the knock-up, and can't quite extend it as Lolo isn't in range for some CC, but still basically some free pressure there for Dardoch. Just cuts a little bit of his time, and maybe not some of his health. As Hard is in there, looking to chomp down, and Dardoch in this 1v1 duel, not feeling so hot. What a pillar there from Hard, though, and that's the first blood over to the Jace as Lolo going to try and chase it down. He does get the trade, but now it's 1v1. Jace still feeling good here, as Lolo is going to be forced to back away.
That is such a good prediction flash out of Lorlo there from the Q, but that was a really interesting sequence of events because Hard, his jungle finishes clear so fast that he went to the try to make sure that Zion would be able to crash the wave. And so he's there early. He's like, okay, you're fine. And as he backs off, Lee with the slower clear gets to get in and then find the gank, but because Lorlo didn't set it up first, there wasn't a lot for him to work with. So Trundle sneaks back up, and the Jace just has such an easier time assisting from a distance when it comes to that fight. Dardoch still has his flash, though, so he might be able to make something do with that. So we'll see again how this plays out. So he's kind of low, and Hard just walks up trying to maximize damage, right? Auto, Q, keep going, and then the big thing here is that Q. That Q missing from Dardoch, right? The Hard would have died right away, might have been able to even flash out later of the Lee Sin, and that just is an even trade. There's not much venture, nothing gained. Yeah, good work to trade at least on both sides, but certainly maybe a preview of things to come there in the top lane matchup. Trundle, I think not often thought as like a super good duelist, but with Press the Attack, as he starts stacking up Qs on you and stealing your AD, like, Trundle's very good at just like literally beating you to death, which I guess is kind of the point of a troll. So certainly good in that situation here, and curious to see Dardoch and Hard and maybe some others go head-to-head in this early game. For now, though, Zion's aggression will continue with the Blaze Olive actually here in the top lane. Looking for Lolo, he's got no flash. Easy taunt, easy justice punch, knocked up, knocked down as there's a dive. Nice and simple for Zion's spot. Ooh, that is a very painful dive. Lorlo does not have teleport anymore, so the lead is going to start stacking. At least Lee is here to cover that experience, and Karma is ready to back him up. But a fight in the bottom lane.
Bot lane aggression, trying a little too far forward. Good exhaust there on the other side, but that's Keith going to go down, and this time it's the aggression from Asta and JJ as the Drake goes over to Golden Guardian. It's a double kill for the Ezreal. Not what we expected there in that 2v2.
They are just bringing all the hope back to the Dignitas squad, as now they're also able to get a little bit of damage down here. Gonna get maybe a plate here. You know, you have a lot of time available. I think in the meantime, Trundle did sneak a Cloud Dragon. So that aggression from Golden Guardians, thinking that you have your jungler there, just gets answered in kind from JJ. That's the advantage that Leona has over the Nautilus. The Nautilus does not have an easy time against her. She's actually a tank. Nautilus is a stone plate, or sorry, aftershock tank. It is only when he gets stone plate that he is somewhat tanky, but Leona will always be able to sustain more damage than he can.
Yeah, I like the counter pick here from JJ. The new bottom lane for Dig looking good here in the early stages, as Dardoch is fishing in towards the enemy jungle. Ever the aggressor is going to maybe dip towards mid now and see if he can find something here alongside Phoenix. But Blaze Olive playing back, is eating a pretty nasty farm deficit. It's 15 CS down right now, but we'll recoup some of that here as he looks to knock down the waves. But as you mentioned, Karma, very straightforward, but also very potent champion. Not a whole lot I feel like Galio can do here, other than try and last hit as best he can. So it is going to give Dardoch and Phoenix some room to maybe roam in, but Dardoch currently bouncing between mid and top lane, trying to kind of right the wrongs of the earlier aggression that gave Lolo this 25 CS deficit. Ooh. As that Q is going to get blocked by a minion. Bad times for Dardoch.
At least he's got the this self-awareness to chuck out the emote. Just a bit of a painful there fight, because now they can't 2v2. You've got no kick on Lee Sin. Trundle is in the area. And I wanted to go back to your point about Karma having that farm lead. And she's the kind of pick that you don't really worry about that. It's like, oh, hey guys, Karma's got a CS lead on me. Like, okay, all right, cool. Like, she's still building Grail. She's gonna go Sensor. So it always puts the emphasis of her advantage on other members when she goes that build, which is why I think it's usually so odd as a pick. It's like, okay, you have that lead, but you're not building AP, and even if you did, it's very hard for you to turn that into an advantage and pressure it the same way that other mid laners can, like a Syndra that just becomes unbelievably oppressive in the lane with a single damage spell. You're just kind of hoping that somebody else comes through to set you up.
Yep, I definitely know that pain. I remember when Emissary was in Brazil and Karma was all the rage. I played a lot of mid Karma. 2NA for about 140-ish ping. And let me tell you, high ping champion Karma, pretty good. Carrying games, even at my abysmal elo, not so easy. Even though I had a lot of fun playing her. So we'll certainly see if Phoenix can enable the rest of his team, as Blue Buff does get handed over to the Galio. But
you
it does
both
seem
enjoy
like
Karma and Zoe. You could not; those could not be farther from each other.
And Yasuo, Syndra, Orianna. No,
you just like good picks. You like to win.
Yeah. Oh, I do like to win. I like good champions.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's just solid gameplay.
I just can't, thinking for myself is too tricky, Crumbs. I just do what the pro players tell me, attempt to emulate it, don't get anywhere close, but just enjoy myself while playing some League of Legends,
I know that feeling.
Where are you up to these days in League of Legends, Crumbs? Are you back to juggling? I think last time we spoke, you moved yourself back to jungle after playing Phil for a while.
So I was playing Phil most of the season, and then I thought, you know what? I want to try a little. So I went to jungle, and I played 1 week straight from I think it was D3, where I was mostly playing Ezreal when I was playing Phil. But I moved to jungle and I played 1 week straight mute all, like instantly mute all. Like I don't want to hear you say good luck, good GG, anything, just mute all, and went with almost a 70% win rate within that week. So I got Masters, like, okay, sick. Let's continue to play. Let's go to Grandmaster. And I got auto-filled about 5 games in a row. I just got demoted right away. I was like, wait a minute. Guys, I was working on my jungle, and I'm out of dodges. I can't continue to do this, and I just demoted right away. So I was like, okay, I feel like the system's against me, man.
So are you playing the meta jungle champions, or is this something? You have a Crumbs
this
pick?
Is weird. There is a Crumbs pick. I'm playing Udyr. I have almost an 80% win rate on about 30 games of Udyr.
That's kind of like both, in that like you're playing a meta jungler in the sense that like it's an aggressive jungler that wants to like duel the enemy jungler and take the enemy jungle farm, but also no one but you is playing Udyr.
Yeah, the value in Udyr is that in pro play you'd never be able to play that because people play control mages, but in solo queue everyone plays assassins. Like, there's always melee bruisers, never tanks, never engage. It's all about fighting. So Udyr is just so easy. There's no way for your opponent to outplay you. It's like, okay, you're stunned, and you're dead, and I'm shielded, and that's it. So that simplicity counters that kind of style. So it's just a way to fight the meta that it's currently in.
Makes sense. Too many karmas in pro play for Udyr.
Yeah.
As Rich Gerald gets channeled in the top side here. Iron Spartan continuing to snowball his lead. He is monstrously far ahead at 1v1. That's 40 CS plus this plate gold. It's going to be the full tower finish as well. DIGA trying to answer here by taking away the Infernal Drake, which they will do so successfully. But as far as individual matchups goes, Iron Spartan is off to a flying start here in the top lane.
That first kill wasn't that bad because both top laners got the gold, but the fact that they got the teleport out of Lorlo and they killed him again really was what sealed Lorlo's fate, as he is now gonna get dope.
Ooh, good chain. And there's the Blaze Olive up to the top side, but the TP is coming into cover. That will mean Phoenix is joining the 2v2, and Zion Spartan will just walk away there.
Alright, ooh, that is so close. That would have been disaster had he actually gone down on that one.
Does live, thankfully. But you can see the pressure mounting. I mean, almost got enough to kill the tier 2 in top lane as well. So an easy pressure point for Golden Guardians to push down on in top lane. Bot lane is evening out a little bit here. Keith is almost finished cashing in on his cull. There have been no more deaths in the 2v2, although Dardoch in the 3v2 might be trying to make something happen here.
Okay, I mean, Chime doesn't have flash, but you still have Keith's ultimate to deal with. This is not a very easy kill to get, considering that Golden Guardians' bottom lane has been playing quite safe. They know that they're having so much strength in the top lane. You just play safe, right? Play to get carried. There's no major objective happening. Herald is down, Dragon is down, plates are about to fade, so you don't have to go for anything crazy here. Just get your itemization, cash in that coal, and just accept that Zion Spartan is going to be your carry this game.
Yep, and I think Golden Guardians is happy to stay in this pattern and let Zion do kind of the bulk of the work at this current stage. Although Olive also continuing to stay active despite the CS deficit, is just pushing and roaming, which is kind of all you need to be doing as Galio at this point. Certainly a nice combo to be had there with that Fate's Call that you alluded to help Galio get in there. And Phoenix going to be forced to flash away as try and look for the hook, but going to get stunned up now in the jungle, and that is going to be a kill over to Dardoch. Ulti from the owner as well is going to force hard away, and now Blaze Olive is way too far forward. Going to grab the taunt, going to get some damage down, but he's dead as well as Asta on a killing spree. Going to make it kill number 3 for himself.
There is Fate's Call, but he wasn't there to call it. They went in there without Keith. They left him farming by himself in the bottom lane, and they just thought they could march on through. There was still the teleport on Lorlo, so while Zion was roaming down, it's not like Dignitas' lineup can't fight. They have just not found the right opportunity to go for it, and GG just walks right on through and says, you've been looking for a fight, we'll give it to you, and we won't even have all our spells up. Do you want to take it? Surely they do.
Yep. Take the easy option there as Asta Arcane shifts away from Zion Spartan, who was trying a different lane to find an advantage in. There's Ocean Drake up in 2 minutes. That will again be the Soul and Rift for this game. But Zion is just trying to build that lead. Yep, move over, maybe take that Herald, the second one of this game. Zion's also, even though there's no plate for him to get, gonna just try and knock down this tower here and get even more gold for himself.
Asta's going to be really scary. His itemization works super well here, not only with the slowing against Keith with his Frozen Fist, but also with the extra armor against Zion that has been getting really fed with that lethality. So if anyone's going to be carrying this game, it's going to be the Ezreal.
Yep, and for his return to pro play actually here in Academy once again. Certainly a good start here for Asta if he's able to pull it off. Also seen, we've already seen actually even in our last game, Death Dance on some ADs. Certainly something I've seen pop up on Ezreal, particularly this kind of build, and it's just so frustrating to kill a highly mobile champion when they also have Death Dance and the armor from the Iceborne Gauntlet. And
I think it was...
and the Karma Shields.
I think the first time we saw it was the MSC with Jackie Love busting it out, and it was also the Frozen Fist, and just so much innovation coming out from the bot lane. And honestly, when you play against it, you're just like, you're complaining about the bot lane role, about the marksman situation, when this itemization can be allowed, because Kallista's also one that can build it. So pretty much any marksman can just replace the lifesteal items with the actual Death Dance, and you get cooldown reduction, lifesteal, extra tankiness. So no longer are you reliant on actually hitting the people to stay alive. You can just stay alive because you're taking reduced damage, and that goes much further and is way more reliable than any sort of lifesteal item, whether it's a Bloodthirster or a Blade of the Ruined King.
Alright, well, Rift Herald there going to charge through mid lane, get one outer tower, and then a second charge onto the tier 2 for some good damage. A fight, though, may be brewing here around this Drake. It is the first of the Soul Drakes, the first Ocean that's available. Keto going to get stunned up, but a Blaze Olive instantly in the backline. Onto Phoenix he goes, but he Mantra Shields the team out of there. JJ also on the front side in stasis, but here comes the Galio back into the fight. Gets the knock up only onto Lola, though, but Golden Guardian's trying to find their way in. Chime gets himself on the front line and stasis out. That's 2 kills for Keith. And there's the hook, lands in for Chime. What a play as Phoenix getting low, will get felled there by Zion Spartan as he finds a double kill, and he's going to complete it all. The ace is almost there, but Asta somehow escapes the Golden Guardian's onslaught.
That is such a big play from a Blaze Olive. JJ goes in, right, finds Keith, the best target you can find, but then a Blaze Olive immediately zones the backline with his Galio, just flashing in there with a giant taunt, disperses everybody else, and then the fight is just over for Dignitas. They cannot engage once JJ gets caught in the middle of it. Let's take a look at how a Blaze Olive played it, because JJ's thinking about it. Okay, where should we go? And already it's really tough for this composition to be executed, much harder than Golden Guardians. And the second he goes in, watch the Galio, right? Immediately gets everybody else, and it is so easy for the rest of the team to follow up, considering that there's a follow-up Nautilus ultimate that catches 3 members, then the Fates Call, then the Galio ultimate. They're learning the same thing that CLG did during practice, right? They were just thinking, just hard engage, and frankly, they just might be scrim partners at this point. Look at how similar the composition is with Galio and Nautilus, and even the Callista that is just another tool of engage. So it seems to be that the teams that are starting a new season are just gravitating towards easier to execute compositions, and it's the way it should always be, right? When you're starting, just play the easiest things. Make sure that you have the communication down and the assertiveness, and then you can transition on towards more complex compositions that put people in different roles.
Yep. You know, kind of can maybe start to see who's in the Galio pool of the scrim pods. But a lovely team fight there from Blaze Olive. The SoCal special in and out of that one. Dignitas now going to counter push the mid outer tower. But TP in the backline, yeah, this could get messy. Hard with a good pillar, finds 2 for the slow. And there's the taunt. See you later, JJ. Oh no, he's actually so tanky. Unkillable, Leona. Take it back, he can be killed. Zion Spartan now unstoppable as the Fates Call from Keith is beautiful. Gonna go in, he'll sacrifice himself here to continue the team fight, but he's still alive. Chime with the shield, able to keep it going, but Keith is finally fell by the Aatrox. Zion dies as well, and Golden Guardians stepped too far, Crumbs. As Dardak will get taunted, he's going to chase down the Blaze Olive, he'll block the Justice Punch, he'll follow with the safeguard and get kill number 4.
They had a free kill. They just kept going and trying to dive the Ezreal with the Karma Shield, and so it was when they used the Fates Call, they're like, should we continue to go in? Like, yeah, keep going. And then they got in top of Ezreal, but Zion Spartan did not have enough damage to take out the Ez. He's tanky, he's got a lot of armor, and there's not armor penetration here. There's only lethality on the side of the Jace. I mean, I can't wait to see that fight again, because you could see exactly where it went from, oh, Golden Guardians is definitely finding a pick, this is a good idea, catch out JJ, to all of a sudden, this is a throw, and Dignitas is still in it.
Yeah. We'll maybe take a look at that in just a moment, but Dignitas certainly fighting back with a 4-kill team fight of their own. Gold is staying very close between these two sides. It's a couple hundred up for Golden Guardians right now. I
gotta ask you.
Yep.
Because you mentioned something in between before that last fight. The SoCal special, in and out.
In and out.
Oh, okay. It's a freaking restaurant. Okay, got it.
Also was a well-played team fight from Blaze Olive. As we'll line up for this next Drake in a minute 45. It's going to be that second Ocean of the game. Could be the 3rd Drake overall for Golden Guardians. And looks like Chime's never going to go back to reset it, but here it is again. Crumbs, you asked, and you shall receive.
Well, let's see how it starts, because they're like, okay, JJ, easy target. They already got the Karma Mantra Q. Nice and simple, just chuck it out. Very tanky, still in position, but then the Nautilus ultimate is pretty tempting. Like, okay, you got a few members. The hook lands, but this is a tanky target who already dashed away. And look at, there's a 3 Dardak on the left who lands a great 3-man kick, but Lurla had already TP'd into the backline. So it was once the hook landed onto Lee Sin where they got tempted for a little bit more, and that is when Dignitas struck back. These are not easy to kill champions. They are only going to get tougher and tougher as the Death Stance and Karma Shields continue to pile up on these carries. I mean, just look at how strong this item is. Aatrox rushed it. He didn't go gore up Black Cleaver.
Yeah.
He didn't go anything. He just went straight for this item. It just shows you how valuable it is, and Asta is going to be going for it next, and when that happens, you're not really going to kill him. You're going to need Hard to have an ultimate up and use it on Ezreal out of all targets.
I mean, yeah, it could very well be the reality we'll soon be living in. Asta already extremely tough to kill. 3-0 and 4 right now on this Ezreal. At least it's building up some bonus gold that maybe the Guardians can look to collect. But Chime is taking poke here in the mid lane. Both teams still scoring up here. Looking to fight around this Drake because they do want to snag this next Ocean. But Hard already eating poke here as they're getting just chased back towards their own jungle. They'll find Dardoch on the front side. That's a good kill. Keith able to take him out. Fate's Call again. Pulls one back. Chime does not go back in this time, so they'll play the 5v4. But Asta is just so strong. He gets hooked. That's the kill they need. The Galio is going to charge in, but Asta, he's able to get out of there. Back over the wall. He goes to take down Keith. And the Ezreal just cannot be killed. Zion Spartan is trying to chase him down, but he's just unkillable. And Chime even lands the hook. And there's no one left for the Blaze Olive to try and take him out. He finally is able to get that kill. But if that taunt hadn't happened, if that hook hadn't landed, Asta would still be alive, just wrecking house over all of Golden Guardians.
There is only one person with healing reduction, and it is Zion Spartan. He's got his Mortal Reminder, and Ezreal doesn't really need that. That doesn't really affect it. He does not seem very mortal in this game. It takes quite a lot to take him down. And that fight, you saw just how quickly they got rid of Dardoch, but when it comes to everyone else, it is so much harder to find these targets, especially Asta, who had so much hope at the beginning of the fight that it really just continues to put pressure on Golden Guardians to engage. And unfortunately, they don't actually have that great of a burst against a target that is so tanky and so shielded by the Karma. So we'll take a look at how the hook started, right? Immediately goes in. He is shielded. A great knockup. Jace goes in, but then a 4-man Ezreal ultimate. So he's already having those Q stacks stacked on top of stacks. Hook lands, but there's a Galio ultimate as well, and he isn't even shielded. He just gets to flash out and then ease away from a Blaze Olive in such a crucial moment. And Spartan just does not hold a candle to how much firepower Asta has right now.
And that taunt, that was the only thing that finally killed Asta after everything else that got thrown into Ezreal. And it kind of feels like there's a bug in the League MMO crumbs because they killed the Ray boss and didn't get the loot. The Drake went to Dignitas as they'll even that objective back up here. Golden Guardian still up in gold by just under 1,000, but it's kind of becoming clear what the single mission is. We must kill the Ezreal through the Ardent Sensor Karma shields. And I think we're good. But if that doesn't happen, job's a lot harder.
He's gone with the Blade of the Ruined King, so his damage is going to be a lot higher, especially against these tanky members and high HP targets of Golden Guardians, but he's going to be a little bit easier to kill, or not as hard to kill. Yeah. I'll say that. It is not easy to take him down right now. And man, it is just so brutal because the Kalista really thrives on targets that are going to be slow and just walking towards you, but an Ezreal that is this strong is her ultimate nightmare. Even just hitting by the Q, now your hops are slower, and Ezreal is going to feel more and more comfortable queuing in.
Oh, Dardoch making a big play onto Hard, but there may be a bait all along. They're going to try and get the kill. They do slay the Ezreal, and Dardoch is still chasing the Trundle that isn't dead. TP's coming in, but they're going to just kill Lolo as he lands as Dardoch finally takes down the opposing jungler. But the chase is on. Golden Guardian through the acceleration gate, looking to grab at least one more as Dardoch absolutely strikes away to his doom as JJ nowhere good to go either. Between two towers, and Zion Spartan will eventually be sacrificed as Golden Guardians have other things to do as Zion finally secures that kill. The Baron is up and ready for the taking.
My jaw is dropped, Pastry. I can't believe what I just saw. The Ezreal, who is so hard to kill, completely forgot who was making him that hard to kill. It was Karma. She was just not there into the fight. The second he shifts in, he's thinking, oh yeah, I'm good, but Phoenix wasn't there when the fight started, so he just got deleted right away. He had no
feel.
Does
he have a spellbook shot? I don't think he does. No. Can't swap over. I think recently swapped to barrier as well, so no steal incoming there from the Karma. It will be the Baron over the Golden Guardians instead.
Wow, okay, just swinging back and forth. Seems like goes from one team to the next to the other, but I still think that Dignitas will have a really strong advantage here with how powerful the Ezreal is in this composition. You did let a lot of gold go back into the pockets of Golden Guardians, and when they're able to chain those Nautilus ultimates with the Galioton into the Ezreal, there's really not a lot he can do, and the rest of the team is nowhere near as threatening because of how much CC there is to just lock these melee champions down.
And you know, it wasn't much of a prediction, Crumbs, but our prediction was right. if the Ezreal does die, things are a lot easier for the Golden Guardians, as we can see. So Asta's certainly going to have to make sure that the Karma is there, that he's able to shift out and weave through the fight. Because when the engage looks good, it hits real nice for Golden Guardians. And I will say, having not seen Galio in a little while, Galio games are very fun, Crumbs, if nothing else.
It is really fun. I love the anticipation behind the taunts. And I will add to your point about the Ezreal that it is almost prophetic to see that every single fight where the Ezreal team loses, you can ask and the Ezreal dies first, you can ask yourself one thing that always happens. Did the Ezreal shift in? The
Yes.
answer is always yes. Just look out for it. If the team with Ezreal ever loses the fight with Ezreal dying, think, did Ezreal shift in? It always plays out that way.
Alright, well 1-3-1 right now for Golden Guardians with this Baron buff. Got a Blaze Olive in the bottom lane. Zion Spartan, certainly a good candidate for split pushing, both as far as his player tendencies goes, and of course his champion in this instance of Jace. But feeling pretty powerful. Trundle Pillar is going to force Asta to shift away, and that will open up space to take down the tier 2. So a very effective 3-lane push here. In fact, it's 2 towers now falling, including the bottom inhibitor tower there for Golden Guardians. Dignitas kind of running out of ways to defend, although Dardo's going to try and stop this Galio. Phoenix looks for the latch, does not quite connect it, but here comes Dardoch. Still will miss that Q. Good pathing there from a Blaze Olive is opening up space for Zion Spartan to take down another inhibitor tower.
A really fast gargoyle there. You'd be surprised with how much bulk
He's got moves. Hard also the target. Blaze Olive, he's just wrapping around. He's not even ulting, he's just looking for the taunt. He's going to charge in, gets exhausted, finds 2. Asta gets out, he gets exhausted himself though, but they're going to force him out of the fight here. Zion Spartan also roaming down. Aatrox's not here right now, so it's a 4v4 as Zion commits to taking down the top inhib instead and does get it.
Okay, so they disengage fairly well for that, but still Golden Guardians is able to get that top inhib, and they're going to be rewarded with another dragon from that. So it's a very successful Baron push all in all. They're not able to crack their main objective, but still the advantage that Zion Spartan created at the beginning of the game is still carrying on later to the point where he can get a solo inhibitor against Lorlo.
Call out that inhibitor. We've broken another inhibitor tower, opening up the bot side, and that Drake to put them on soul point. That's a lot done in that Baron power play for Golden Guardians.
They even got Asta's flash.
Ooh, that's a good one. Very valuable cooldown to have moves off that. Now it's only the million shifts and the Karma shields and the heal to get through.
Just tempt him to shift in, right? So let hard just tease himself. Oh yeah, keep hitting me. Oh, I'm so weak. I'm Trundle. Oh yeah, I don't have any damage. And then Pillar behind him. Nautilus. It worked before. We know Ezreal's can't resist the shift in. It is a stronger temptation than the Lee Sin Q.
I mean, I will say, as far as tools go to deal with these mobile carries, like, Trundle Pill's not bad because the range is so long. It's one of the reasons I think Trundle's, among many, that Trundle is such a good jungler right now. And certainly has been very effective alongside the rest of his team. Zion Spartan is in there, but forced to flush away. He was in a 1v4, started fighting Dardoch by the looks of things, but the rest of the team is here to take down this inhibitor, and Phoenix is nowhere to be found for this potential fight.
2 ults, and more importantly, you got the inhibitor as well, pretty much for free there, so Golden Guardian's feeling really good about it. Now with 2 inhibitors cracked.
Ooh, what a hook from Shine. This guy doesn't miss. Forces Asta to shift away again, no flash. Had an opportunity there. Hard does use his ultimate though, but the poke landing from a Blaze Olive, I just don't think there's a way back in here for Dignitas, and now they might get counter-engaged on. As Zion Spartan looking for something over the wall, finding that poke. Ezreal ulti going to thin out the way, but the siege is still on here for Golden Guardians. They're going to take this tower down. Dignitas just can't defend. There's another great pillar. Asta not going to be forced to shift yet, but now has to shift back.
Okay, I think the push is done for Golden Guardians. They have a new wave here, and the bot lane wave is about to come in. No, they're still going with this, it seems. The top lane turret is pushing, so they're feeling confident. And Dignitas has their ultimates back up, so if they want to take a fight, this could be the time.
I don't think giving up 3 inhibs is when you want to take the fight, so they will pick their engage now, but the Dardoch Q does not connect. The Leona ult doesn't hit either, and now going to keep getting poked out by the Galio and the Jace. Asta shifting in. Always a risky one. Oh, there it is! The taunt! He found it! Asta! He's gonna get a massive shield from the Karma, and the Blazola just dies. Phoenix was there to save the day. Keaton gonna get jumped on, but he's trying to get out. He will not make it. Shut down there by Dardoch. There's the double kill over, as it was a bait all along, Crumbs.
Oh no, this is why I wanted to see the push be over, Pastry. The fact that you have those double inhibitors means that Dignitas is confined to their base eventually, and the objective will spawn. Jace has found a way to make a play. This is a really smart move out of Zion Spartan to be able to do this. You know he can do a Lorlo right now. There's a base from Karma. Can they 2v2? I'm sure they can.
Oh, actually, yeah, 2v2. Sorry, I thought that was the Ally jungle. That's not. He's busy at the Baron, so that's going to be a kill onto Lolo. Shields are big, but not big enough. Hard gets the kill. Now another 2v2 as JJ enters the arena, but Ezreal and Lycian still finishing off the Baron. They do get it, but the inhib does fall. Golden Guardians doing what they can given the situation.
Whew, okay, that was a really good way to salvage that play out of Golden Guardians. They are still thinking about how to win the game, which is a fantastic sign of life out of them. So many times teams would just roll over and die, but they are still thinking about how to continue to pressure Dignitas. And that is certainly one way to do it. You've got that Baron, so you'll be able to defend against supers really easily, but you'll eventually have to leave that base. 1 minute for the soul point on Golden Guardians.
55 seconds as mentions. Soul point also to dig if they can grab it, so a pretty critical dragon here. But with all these supers, curious to see how much pushing Dig can get done. Right now they're in the bottom lane, but Asta does not want to stick around there for too long. But this Baron,
it was really funny how he E'd in, and immediately Golden Guardians takes the bait, instantly get in there, and they're unable to finish him off because nobody else could follow up. I think it was the turret that was right there, or some other terrain that just prevented Chime from being able to follow up with a hook of his own.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like Blazola had made the right play, punishing the mistake, but Dignitas were all over it. Phoenix this time was beside the Ezreal already with the shields, and they are as large as you advertised, Crumbs.
Oh man, yeah, that death cap already, and now is when Asta's going to be going for that death stance. So luckily it's not completed for Golden Guardians before this dragon fight is happening, so they still have a chance. But Zion Spartan is pushing in the top lane, trying to distract Lola from this.
Hard actually spots everyone and actually cuts them off from the Drake, so they're just going to give the Soul Drake over. I actually really like this call from Golden Guardians, just making sure Zion's there to threaten, you know, potentially the Nexus, certainly the inhibitor. And it's an easy Drake take there for Golden Guardians as they do collect the Ocean Soul.
It's too easy for Golden Guardians to take a fight without Aatrox being there. There's really only one threat you got to worry about in that sense. So they wisely give that up, and now they're going to have to find a way to defend against this super push. But you've got those Baroned up champions. It's going to be really tough for Golden Guardians to do anything with the Soul. So I'm thinking game's just going to stall out a little bit, and they're just going to wait in the jungle to hope that somebody face checks them.
I think also, you know, with the 1-3-1 we saw from Golden Guardians, I think it looked really good when they had Baron. When they don't have Baron, I'm not sure how easy it's going to be, but they do still seem to be executing that same play. Zion is certainly very strong individually, but see if they have enough pressure here. I think with the supers they might, despite Dignitas having Baron. But I mean, it has respawned though, and mid's probably not too far off as Chime going to be forced away by Asta, who does now have the Death Dance finished, Crumbs.
Oh boy, once he finishes his armor penetration item, that's when the going really gets tough for Golden Guardians, because now the tanks that have been taking so much initial poke are just not going to be able to stand in front of him for very long. Before, it was a bit of a chance. Here comes another shift in, but when he has that Karma shield behind him, it becomes really tough to catch him. It was that shield that actually prevented that hook from connecting.
Yeah, I mean, Chime has been doing an excellent job pinning down an Ezreal, which is not an easy task. Also in, they're going to try and go for it again. Asta forced to flash away, but the Galio ult is going to come down. Asta does get caught by the depth charge, but JJ is finally going to die to a Blaze Olive as he does go into stasis. An absolute mess here in the front line. Asta's still cutting it up, but he's dead! That's it, that's the shutdown. Zion Spartan's able to find it. Keith finds a double on the back end of it, and now it's only Lolo left alive to defend the Nexus, Crumbs, and I just don't think he can.
He cannot do it. This is going to be it. Golden Guardians finds a way to take down Asta and finishes the game, starting the split with a win under their belt.
looking good. They knew the game plan, Crumbs. Kill the Ezreal, end the game. That's exactly what they did.
Oh, it worked so well. He was tempting them. He's like, we gotta get a fight started. How do I do it? I shift in. But mark my words, notice what happened. What fights do Ezreal teams lose when he dies? When he shifts in.
He also won one where he shifted in.
He did win one. I forgot what happened.
I do see a point. Certainly a tough game, I think, for to navigate, despite how strong the Ezreal was. And I mean, seeing two different Galio comps here, I actually really liked how Golden Guardians played theirs with the Jace instead of the Ornn, basically, that CLG had, because they had additional side lane pressure. Obviously, Zion got very far ahead in his 1v1 with some assistance from the jungle and mid laner, so his job was made a lot easier. But seeing like a split pushy comp that also has engage options was a really nice thing here for Golden Guardians, and not the easiest comp to pull off, but I think executed very well in this game, particularly given that they had a very challenging threat to deal with that they did manage to find enough engages on.
It really smoothes over the laning phase. That was what really was a problem for CLG when Huni was just able to run rampant against the Ornn in the early game. But when you have a Jace, you still have some power in the lane that you can work through, so that Trundle had a lane with which to play from. And from that advantage, the fact that they got those leads early made it so much easier to transition into those Nautilus Galio Wombo combos.
All right, we'll hear from someone on the winning team in not too long, so meet us here after the break. Welcome back. I am here with Keith from the Victorious Golden Guardians Academy. Keith, thank you so much for joining me. Just on the game, how does bot lane feel? Because that Ezreal seemed honestly unkillable at some point in the mid game.
Yeah, definitely. I would say the matchup didn't go as it was expected. Usually when playing Callista, it's a champ you want to play to throughout the whole game. But we played to our Jace a lot. But honestly, if Jace gets that fed, I'm okay as a Callista. I think we took one 2v2 bad, or one 2v2 in bot lane. Chime got a bit impatient with how like slow the game was going, since like we want to snowball as the Callista side, and it ended up us both dying. So that Ezreal got really strong, so the game was looking scary. But I think we ended up playing our comp super well and got the dub.
Yeah, and of course, Chime, your new support, very fresh to this level of play. How's it been playing with such a new player, and clearly one that wants to be aggressive and kind of push the limits in the matchups?
It's definitely been a good experience. It's not something I'm new to. I'm pretty used to playing with new support players and like at least guiding them to what I want to do in bot. So no, it's been a good time.
And then, of course, adjusting back to AD and playing, with new teammates. Like you mentioned, hard going top instead of bottom. Like, how's it been adjusting to this new team? First of all,
Probably not. It wasn't that hard to adjust because I've played on Golden Guardians Academy as an AD carry last summer, so I'm already pretty used to playing
well, true.
with
You had a couple games at the end.
yeah, Zan Spartan and hard. So I mean, it's been easy playing with them for sure, and I'm also close with them in real life, so that feels good.
Nice. And then how is being back to bot lane? Even when you're in Golden Guardians Academy playing AD, you were one of the best players in that role. What is it like shifting back to that role in this league? Do you feel like you're just ready to kind of take the number one spot as AD again?
You make it sound really easy, but I don't think it's gonna be that easy. It's been pretty hard adjusting back. Like I've done okay job at like playing support for what 3 or 4 months. Only playing support like kind of shifts like my mindset a bit. But I did get a lot of takeaways from playing that role. But I'm definitely prepared to grind a lot and prove myself again in academy.
And do you think playing support kind of helped your marksman play at all? Crumb said he thinks that when you learn the other side of the bot lane matchup, it can make you a better AD. Do you think that time has kind of informed you being back to bot lane at all?
I think I've gained a lot of insight playing support in LCS, and it's like giving me new perspective about like criticizing my support because I kind of understand what they're going through, like especially when they make mistakes. So hopefully I can take that to improve my play and my support's play in the future.
Well, certainly seems like a great thing for Chime, of course, your new support. Keith, thank you so much for joining me. Congratulations on the win today.
Thank you.
All right, well, thank you for joining us. We're going to take another break, but when we return, we've got the Samsung SSD Fast 5, and we look ahead to the upcoming week 1 of the LCS. Welcome back. We're going to run through the top 5 performers of our day with a newest segment, the Samsung SSD Fast 5. So how this works is we're going to track 5 stats, all split long, to find our 5 fastest players in both the Academy and the LCS. So for each role, top, bot, jungle support, and mid lane, we have a stat. In top lane, it's 100 CS time. How fast are you there? To jungle, time to level 6. For mid laner, time to level 11. Bot lane, 10k gold time. And for support, when does your support item transform? So these, after today, Crumbs, are your top 3 performers in each role for each of those stats.
Oh, pretty exciting, actually. The first one, obviously, because it's right in the middle, the jungle, first to level 6. So Fnatic was playing Nocturne, so he actually hitting level 6 faster than anybody else is a really big deal for him in the composition. So really like to see that out of him. And then Phoenix, perfect lead, right? 13-37.
Yep, he's looking good here as we'll take a deeper look now at how all 10 top laners performed against each other today. As we can see, Zion Spartan was on top. 11 minutes and 4 seconds, they hit 100 CS, but there's the rest of the leaderboard for today. Lolo in last, unfortunately, there. But that makes sense given how quickly Zion came up on the Jace. So obviously not the fairest comparison this go-round.
So the most interesting thing is that they're kind of inverse. The opponents of the top members are the bottom placers. So Zion played against Lorlo, Jenkins played against Dokla, Fudge played against Fake God, and so then the bottom between 4 to 7 are a little bit tighter, but I think that's actually already a pretty cool comparison with the stat.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see, I love me some leaderboards. I've missed Scion Speedway, Crumbs. We're going to do it even better. Instead of Scion racing around the Rift, we've got 5 different stats to track between both leagues, all split long. So at some point, we're going to see who has the world record in quotes, for 100 CS top lane and all those other stats as well. The Academy split, though, continues tomorrow with Academy Rush, where Dash will guide you through 5 games of action simultaneously. We've got FlyQuest Academy versus Cloud9 Academy, alongside 100 Thieves Academy taking on Evil Genius Academy, and 3 other games before we dive into the first iteration, Crumbs, of Friday Night League. The LCS is on Fridays now, baby. It's going to be great. We can see 100 Thieves and EG will start things off, and then a rematch over the finals, as is tradition. FlyQuest taking on Cloud9.
I mean, obviously got to look for FlyQuest versus Cloud9. Just how good is Cloud9 right now? Like, that is my big question, because they've had a break in the offseason. Did they just drop off? Probably not. They're probably still amazing, but still, you want to see what they bust out, because they've always been super creative with their drafts.
Yeah, as a reminder, make sure to tune in for that. You can join Latigrus, Prolly, and Mark to kick off the LCS Summer Split with that finals rematch that you mentioned. But I'm, of course, excited to see FlyQuest, see if they can maybe get some revenge, because nobody could really beat Cloud9 by the end of Spring, Crumbs. We'll see if the start of summer has something different.
And they're on a sea quest now, so they're trying to help the environment in all the ways possible. So why not cheer for them? That's pretty cool.
Exactly.
Someone's actually making the world a better place. That's right. I'm behind that.
Well, I'm certainly here for a good game, if nothing else, and that's going to do it from us here. On behalf of myself, the casters, and the entire live broadcast crew, thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow for both Academy Rush and Friday Night League. Good night.
Good night.